Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Love is Blind, Season 9, Episode 2. I cannot wait to get into this, and we're going to jump straight in. So, of course, we start out where we left off yesterday with Ali and Anton, and they are doing the reveal. It was adorable. The two of them seem really happy with each other. Let me grab my notes. The two of them seem really happy with each other. He goes on about how stunning she is. They embrace. They really seem to have a great connection. They, of course, have the whole like, can you put the face to the voice? And of course they still can't. But they have a really cute reveal. At the end, I didn't get a picture of it, but at the end, he walks her over to her side and then he's walking away and she's standing there with bated breath, waiting for him to do the turnaround. And he doesn't do it. And collectively, I'm sure everybody had the gasp and it was like, why didn't he turn around? So I don't know if they're setting this up for next time or for the future, but he stops and instead of turning around and looking at her and getting a one last peek, he grabs the bottle of champagne and pours himself another glass of champagne. So I hope that champagne was some good champagne. I don't know what's going on there. But c'est la vie. We'll keep an eye on them. We go into the women's lounge and Calibria is wearing the most adorable sweater. I love, love, love that sweater, and I wish I could pull it off. Cannot do it. They're all talking around and they're having and they say it's an Elle Woods moment, but really it is a Mean Girls reference. We wear pink on Thursdays is a Mean Girls reference. Loved it. I absolutely love obscure movie references. I make them all the time, so if you ever catch me doing one across any of my videos, because of course you are going to subscribe right now. I hope you are clicking that bell. I love making obscure references, so if you ever catch one, throw it down in the comments to let me know that you caught it. I also make obscure TV show references, so also those. But yes, we are wearing pink. I'm gonna have to remember to wear pink next Wednesday when the next set of episodes drops. So this is Joey. Joey is dating Madison, and he apparently doesn't like cats too much, but whatever. They both want kids. I'm joking. You don't have to like cats. I have 2 cats. You may see them. Sometimes they're sitting on the chairs behind me. Sometimes they're sitting on the desk in front of me. It just depends on how they're feeling that day and what they feel like doing. But he I am so worried about this cast because I just keep seeing these little peaks of red flags and they are going off. So he wants to live with her because he's apparently homeless. He is losing his lease and instead of getting his own place, he just wants to move into her place. So they should get married and he can live with her. So yeah, worrisome. We already know that last season there were some allegedly homeless people that needed to get married so that they would not be on the streets, not naming any names. But I'm really curious. I'm not curious. I'm really nervous to see if, in fact, they are learning from their mistakes, like the producers. And there are more instances in this that I will save my soapbox for because it's really it's some of it's really wild. And I know that they are showing us the obligatory food and rest time so that they can combat some of the accusations that are wild because of pending litigation. But there are also some things that they are blatantly showing us that are not convincing us, and this is one of them. So she says that she does have a condo, but she would prefer if they were to get married, they would like get a place together. And that way he's not in her space. Because if he just moved into her house, she would kind of feel like he was invading her space. But if they got a place together, then it would be their place. And I love how diplomatic that answer was. It was a great answer. So now, this is where things start taking a wild ride because they do have a conversation. She does get into a space where she starts telling him about her degenerative disorder. And she is being so vulnerable with him. And he has a really weird reaction. And I say that because, like, she's describing, he's asking her questions, but his face is saying one thing and his mouth is saying it's something totally different. He is having, like, the wildest facial reactions, and he could just be expressive, but it looks like he's not taking it very well, even though he's saying, "Oh, yeah, sure, I would totally love you if you were blind." I'm not saying that he's not. I'm not even saying that this was not a weird edit where they didn't take his facial expression from something else. and move it over. I'm just saying that the story that they are telling us as the audience is a little bit sus. I didn't like the facial expressions. I didn't really like his reaction to it, and it makes me a little bit nervous for her because she is such a sweet girl. I also am very distracted about the rubber bands around the glasses. I know that they're just to say who which glass belongs to who, but I wish they would have used like those little what are they called? Like the little charms or something. It's just something that kind of blended in a little bit more, and maybe they didn't because it makes too much noise or something, but, I can have my wishes. Next, we meet Nick, and Nick strives to be more like Johnny Bravo. His favorite pickup line is one from Johnny Bravo, and we quickly get to see a montage of him with a whole bunch of other girlies. He seems to be telling everybody that they're his number 1, and I don't know, he just seems a little bit shallow. He's also apparently a luxury watch salesman, and, like, whenever anybody asks like, the one girl asks him what he does, and he's like, "Well, I don't really wanna talk about work, but I'm a very successful luxury watch salesman," and he just gives me what is that guy from a couple seasons back when he had the Rolex, and every single time there was, like, the slightest opportunity to talk about his watch, he would go on and on and on and on about his watch, and he was an art dealer, though. But I feel like it's the same guy, just rebranded. So he has a couple of connections. His first connection is Kate, and they start talking about dad breakfast and if they were together and they had kids, what kind of breakfast would he make? He says he would make chunky monkey pancakes, which I love, and she said that her dad used to make crepes, and that was one of her favorite days of the week is when would make these dad breakfast days. They have a really cute connection. They talk about how much he loves to bully kids, and Kate goes and we get a little moment with Kate in a confessional, and she's talking about how she used to be engaged, and it was a long-term relationship. They were engaged, and he decided that it was be a great opportunity to cheat on her when about 3 months after her mom passed away when she was still in mourning. And now I can sympathize, like, 3 months is not enough time to get over losing your mom. I lost my mom when I was 16, and it's not something that you ever get over, especially whenever there's a big event coming up or a holiday or anything like that. The grief transforms, but it never goes away. And so she said that that relationship was very physical. And so this one she wanted to lead with emotion. Nick also has a connection named Annie, and they seem to have a. Oh, it also says here that Nick tells Kate that she might be the one, and it immediately kinda gave me the ick because he keeps saying that to everyone. So Nick also has a connection named Annie, and they seem really easygoing. Nick says that he wants somebody that he can grow with, and it seems to be in res about Annie. He tells her that he is really into non-traditional gender roles, and she eats that, and then she spills her drink all over the floor, and not only does she spill her drink on the floor, she just leaves it there. And he's like, "Aren't you gonna get a napkin?" And she's like, "No." Now, I find that incredibly rude, but then I am Canadian, and we apologize to a door for walking into it. So but I would still be apologizing profusely, like, to the carpet, to the cup, to him, to the producers, to, like, whoever needs to bring me some more napkins, I would be apologizing profusely because, I'm Canadian, that's what we do. I just thought it was, like, so much audacity to just be like, "Oh, I'll just leave it there." Now, that's not to say that she didn't clean it up off screen and they just edited it out. They could have, but, they're setting her up for me to judge her. Just saying. It's not my fault I'm judging her, it's the producer's fault. I also made a note that their conversation is pretty sexual. And that's always one of the kind of yellow flags when people get very much into, like, the trauma conversations, and that's all they talk about, or, like, the sexual conversations, and that's all they talk about, because it's a little like, are you guys building a foundation, or are you guys just bonding over this one thing? Next, we zoom over to Annie and Brennan. So Annie's number 1 is this gentleman right here, Brennan, and this is the first time we're seeing both of these couples, and she really kinda comes alive and sparkles when she is talking to Brennan. It is adorable, just the difference in their chemistry. She's, like, so much more giggly. They're talking about kids and building a family and what their future would look like. He talks about how he would wanna be as a father and how he would wanna be a coach. Even if it was ballet, he just wants to be the coach, the dad that's there every single day, week in and week out, to really be there hands-on with his children. And Brennan says that Annie is his number 1. So those 2 are, they're really enjoying their time together, and I think that they are absolutely adorable. Next, we're gonna talk about this. What is this? What is this? And if you think that I am misunderstanding what's going on in this situation, I am not, because all of these gentlemen that are standing in the room, in the populous room around him, because no, he is not in private, all of these people standing in this populous room around him also wanna know, "What are you doing, Edmund? Are you okay, dude?" I think one of them was like, "Are you okay, bro?" Like, it's now, this behavior is not normal. I'm sorry. He and just in case you do not understand what you are seeing, because I had to rewind this and rewatch it because my brain could not compute what I was seeing. I was like, "I am not seeing what I'm looking at. What is he doing?" And yes, he is full-faced, full lips, making out with the floor. Is he using tongue? I'm not sure. Possibly, but he is. And when they're like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "It just feels so good to kiss something." Now, there have been a lot of allegations against the producers of this show in past years, not only in the courts, but also from the participants, from the cast members, from the contestants, whatever you want to call, and also from other YouTubers. So much so that like a lot of the other YouTubers were like, "I'm not doing another season of this because I cannot be a part of this." And I really, really loved this show. I was here for season 1. I was here for the Lauren and Cam, and I believe that we're going to get another one day. I believe there is going to be another amazing, beautiful love story like Lauren and Cam one day. Because that's all, like, everybody loves that story. Like, every single couple is, like, held up to that level, and I don't recall if I've seen another one since then. I'm trying to remember the couples from last season, and no, I don't even think I can. Like, last season was just so messy and so disappointing. And this season, I was really hoping that they were gonna redeem themselves because, again, I mentioned last episode, they're showing the obligatory food, how they're actually feeding them. I was really, really hopeful that changes were being made to the casting and to the entire process of how this show was coming together, how they were like, not even editing it, but how they were screening participants and making sure that the women on this show are safe, essentially. And now I see this. And I had mentioned some yellow flags last episode about him specifically, and I was saying that I'm really hoping that it's just a bad edit because he was seeming a little bit unfocused, and they seemed like he wasn't concentrated in his career, and he was doing some kind of, like, customer service thing, and then he was being a realtor, and now he wants to be a substitute teacher. And but he got his master's degree or something, and I was like, it's there's all these one-off comments, but it's making him look like he's not focused in his life, and he doesn't know where he's going or what he wants to do with his life. But I'm hoping that it's just an edit. And now they're showing us this. And the thing is, they get to choose the story that they tell us. So they could have edited this out and we could have not known. Or they could have edited out one of 100 other things that we don't know about. But what they're choosing to leave in is what we get to judge them on. And this is what they're leaving in. Now, if this is him and he's just weird like this, then maybe he's just weird like this. But why are you having these people set up with these, like, why are you setting up people, these women who have their shit together with weirdos? Like, I promise you that you can find drama with people who are successful. Trust me. You can find drama without sabotaging these women. But you look at these women, and I was talking to somebody else about that this morning, that the women on this show are gorgeous. They're stunning, every single one of them. So, so gorgeous and so put together and so successful and confident in large part. And they have these, a lot of them have some relationship trauma and they just want to find their person. And then you do this to them and it's not funny anymore. So that's where I sit with this. He does, this is not a one off instance. If you haven't finished watching other episodes or if you haven't seen, he does other things that are something else. It's disgusting. And I I don't know if I'm gonna talk about it. We'll see if I get it. If I get a picture of it, I will talk about it. If I don't get a picture of it, we won't talk about it because it like literally makes like, but you guys know you can talk about it in the comments. But this is just not fair. And it's frustrating because you are putting people in a pressure cooker and you are manipulating them and how they interact with each other. I mentioned it last episode where they had Jordan sitting there looking at pictures of his son that has type 1 diabetes and he's crying and he's missing his son. And then they throw him into a date immediately afterwards with Megan, who has a dad who's type 1 diabetic. And so now they're sitting there and they're both having this intensely emotional reaction to each other and the situation. And that is not necessarily that they don't already have any kind of feelings towards each other, but you are manipulating and making this experience that much more intense. And you are creating these artificial scenarios where people are strengthening bonds over this trauma. And is it a little bit of manipulation? Yes. Is it unethical? Question. But if you are pushing the question one with the other one, like, is unethical for a different reason. But this one here, they are also being bonded over some traumatic issues, and she is a social worker to try and make her life and the life of the children she interacts with better. And she is going to feel responsible for this guy, which is what exactly what we see in the next scene, where she's sitting here and she's talking about how she is always accused of being an alpha female, and she's always felt like she needed somebody who was even more alpha than her to be able to balance her out and make her feel safe and secure in a relationship. But maybe she's wrong. Maybe Edmund is the guy that that she needs. And even though he is self-professed not an alpha, but he says that he if she needs him to lead, he will lead. Stick a pin in that because we're coming back to that one. And she's like, maybe that's not what I need. And you can see the other girls around her like, girl, like that is the girl face. That is literally, that is the girl face. Like, you are making concessions, and I am so worried that she just wants to be loved and wants to fill that hole, and I'm not calling her desperate, but you're here and you wanna take advantage of this situation, and you already feel so connected to these people, and you don't wanna just give up and walk away. You wanna see this through because you could be missing out on the best thing that ever happened to you, and I feel like she's gonna keep making concessions for him. He continues to be weird, and then they go on a date together. And they are having a little bit of a date about, let's see. Yeah, they're doing her dirty alpha woman. Family is important. That's what they're talking about. Family is so incredibly important to the two of them and how they want to blend their families. And she cannot wait for him to meet her family and her to meet his family. She then wants to talk about how he has forgiven his mom for his really rough childhood. And he said, because she's my mom, basically. And she goes into how she has not and cannot forgive her father. Now, she does have a quote here, and that's why I wanted you to stick a pin in it. She says, he forced me to be so strong, and I don't want to have to be strong. And that is so telling, because even if she decides to continue to be the strong one in the relationship or the leader in the relationship or the alpha in the relationship, she's just recreating that same relationship she had with her dad where he was not who who she needed him to be. Now we get to see, oh, no, hold on, that's not next. Where are we? We get to see Megan, and Megan gets a little montage, and she starts talking about her boys. There is Blake, Mike, and Jordan. So we get a little bit of a meeting with Jordan. She is enjoying her time with Jordan. They just have a very fun, funny, casual date. Not much to say there. Her and Mike are next, and they just talk about beds and sleeping. They have the same Tempur-Pedic mattress, so go girl. And then she talks to Blake, and she says Blake is her number 1. She invites him to be her plus one at a wedding where the venue costs $400,000. Like, that's a house in Canada. It's the lower end for a house, but it's a house in Canada. We have extremely high housing prices. That's a whole other video, whole other rant. And then they talk about traveling. So she really enjoys Blake. That's her number 1. But Blake also has another connection, and that's Anna. And they had the best date. Like, if I ever go on one of these crazy shows, I would want to date just like this one. Like, I don't like camping. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to go out in the woods and go camping, but I would do this. Like, this is so cute. Like, look at that. Like, that is adorable. Like, I want that room in my house to watch movies in. So, Blake is Anna's number 1, I think. They have a camping date, and they have a really super fun dynamic, and they talk about ghosting. Anna hasn't ghosted anybody that she's been serious about, so that's nice. Then we are talking about Anna and Patrick, and Anna's really torn between the 2 of them. Instead of going straight in or hold on, let's pause here for a second. So Anna is just saying that her and Patrick have this amazing connection, but he's just not what she would normally go for, and so that kind of scares her. And then we get to a converse or a date with Patrick and Kelsey. They're playing basketball. That's why it's so blurry. Patrick sucks at basketball, despite the fact that he played basketball in college, university, post-secondary. And this is where it gets kind of weird. I like these 2 together. I really like these 2 together, but she gave me the ick. She really pressured him into telling her his ethnicity. And you can see that he didn't wanna do it. And I feel like he was kind of stuck between a rock on a hard place where he was like, "If I don't tell her, she might drop me just because she doesn't know and doesn't want to chance it being whatever she doesn't want it to be. But if I do tell her, then she's gonna drop me because I'm Asian." And I really, really like, my heart went out to him in that moment. You could see how badly he didn't want to tell her, but at the end of the day, like, he told her. And I was not crazy about how she reacted. She said that it was okay. She said that she was fine. She's never dated somebody that was Asian before, but it wasn't a deal breaker to her. She said that her family, her siblings all have dated outside of their race, and it would be okay. But again, this could be the edit, but she just didn't do a great job of selling it. But we'll see how they continue as they continue to date, right? So next we see Patrick and Anna, and they are again, they're so cute together. They start imitating each other, which I thought was so much fun. And then she breaks down about how much she misses her parents and how she's never really spent a large amount of time away from them. And it was so adorable because she was saying that, like, she used to have a really hard relationship with her mom, and that it would her mom almost annoyed her because, like, she was just they just didn't understand each other, and then as she got some distance away from her parents, she gained some perspective, and she realized that her mom was just a girl, and she had a really hard life, and she was just doing her best, and I loved that for her. Like, I did just really love that for her. Like, I think I mentioned earlier, I lost my mom when I was 16. And so this is before I was old enough to have that kind of epiphany. And so we always just had a very, very rough relationship. But I wish I that she would have lived long enough for me to have that epiphany. They do talk about ethnicity, and they do talk about how they think that they would be amazing together. And we go on to Joey, and he jumps straight into proposing because, like I said, he needs to secure that lease. And I love how she clearly knew that they were going to be having the proposal today because she got herself all dressed up, and he literally threw on, like, khakis and a t-shirt. They have a really cute moment where they both start touching the wall because that's as close as they can get to each other until the actual reveal happens, and then she comes out to celebrate. And next we go into Annie having an epiphany, and she said that she had come on the show because she wanted to be sure that she was finding herself in a relationship where they were connected at an emotional level and that she didn't want to have like a shallow relationship, but she realized that maybe she all along was the shallow one, which I think is a cute epiphany to have if, if that is true of yourself, but that she is so incredibly connected to Patrick and that Blake might just be the safe choice. We then get to see a little bit of Patrick reflecting, and he says that he seems to be really set on Annie, but then they go into the date and it's a cliffhanger and they make it seem like Annie has stood him up. He obviously looks hurt, but we have to wait until tomorrow. I will discuss it tomorrow. You probably stayed up all night watching all 6 episodes, and I'm jealous. I haven't watched it yet. I watched some, but I'm gonna leave it there. I didn't watch all, and I kind of fell asleep because I was exhausted. But I'm gonna go finish watching rewatching it now so that I can actually watch and recap it, and I will see you back here tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. I'll see you then.